completed at the 56-minute mark into today's spacewalk, and the Attitude Determination and Control Officer here in Mission Control has been given the go to power up that new unit. Nick Hague and Suni Williams, almost an hour into today's spacewalk, will now stow the old rate gyro assembly back into the airlock before they press ahead to the next pair of tasks, in which they'll split up, with Nick Hague conducting the installation of patches in the nicer telescope payload on the outside of the International Space Station. Suni Williams will be working on the zenith side of the station to replace a planar reflector, one of the navigation tools on the zenith side of the International Docking Adapter, to which the Crew 9 SpaceX Dragon transport vehicle is currently docked.
Copy, Suni. Can you check that your safer handles are down? I don't think we heard it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Safer handles down.
Copy, Suni. And before you get moving as well, we'd take a glove and hap check.
Yeah. Left safer handles down. Ups are nominal. Hap is dry.
Just to reset where we're at the 1 hour mark into today's spacewalk, the 273rd, in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades. You're hearing the voices of the two crew members outside the station, Nick Hague and Suni Williams, and our spacecraft communicator here in Mission Control, that is astronaut Jessica Whitner.
Under the empty on the port gift card.
And hey, Nick, for you, we saw you just put the failed RGA in the bag. Did you see any flakes from the failed RGA come out of the bag or anything when you did that?
No, I haven't noticed anything coming off the failed. The only thing I've noticed is the stuff coming off what we put in. And since I pulled it out, I haven't seen anything hanging around in the bag.
Okay, Nick, copy. And if we could just have you hold there for a second. We're talking about the RET configuration in the bag and potentially making a change to reduce the amount of flakes that may come off of the failed now.
Okay. Hold here.
And Suni, for you, I do have APFR settings when you're ready.
Okay, stand by. Okay, the bag is connected to the APFR. Put the RT on. RT ret is on the APFR as well. What are my settings?
Copy, Sunny. The settings for the APFR are going to be November, Kilo 1.
November, Kilo 1. I think I'm going to I'm going to move it off of this engine first. Very set settings. That's okay with you? It's down here in the heads and the bunch of stuff.
Copy, Sunny, if that works for you.
Just over an hour and 4 minutes into today's EVA, and there you see a great view of NASA astronaut and commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, making her way away from the S0 truss, which the rate gyro assembly number 2 had just been completed with the remove and replace of the old unit to a new one that has just been approved to be powered on. And then also in that field of view, you see the SpaceX Dragon for Crew 9 off into the distance, as both Suni Williams and Nick Hague will stow the old rate gyro assembly unit here shortly before continuing on with today's planned tasks. And those tasks will include the removal and replacement of a Harmony Zenith planar reflector, which is actually close to that Dragon spacecraft, as well as the installation of a neutron star interior composition explorer patch, or the NICER X-ray telescope experiment, and prepare the alpha magnetic spectrometer patch panel for future upgrades.
All right, remind me just this pitch setting here. November, push in, unlock, unlock.
And Ephraim saying November is correct.
November is locked. What's the other one?
Kilo 1.
Kilo 1. Good.
I have a large ORU on my BRT.
Copy, Nick. Large ORU on your BRT, and can you confirm the thermal shroud is closed?
I'm working on it.
Copy.
I'm going to get the BRT on ORU before I have to on my safety so they're getting around the way.
Copy, no problem.
Are you seeing HECA? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, affirm. I see your HECA now.
I've got the Velcro down on 3520, working my way up the no I saw too.
All right, that looks good, Nick. When you can, perform a glove and hap check, and then we'll get you translating back to the airlock.
Got it.
It's Sunny for you. Once you get the APFR set, just verify the pitch knob's locked and can be depressed.
The pitch knob is locked and can be depressed, yes. In its correct setting, I'm going to put it on my BRT.
Copy.
Your paddles are locked on the VRT.
You should be able to see down. LI is in a good config.
Hey, firm, Nick, we're looking at your HECA, and it looks like a good config.
Great communication there between NASA astronaut Nick Hague as well as the teams on the ground. The confirmation of a good power-up of the rate gyro assembly at number 2, the replacement unit that was just recently completed by NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Suni Williams together, as they are starting to receive data and shortly receive data of the angular motion that it will measure of the International Space Station about its 3 different axes.
Eyes on the GPS antenna. After it leads off, continue down phase 2.
Okay, Nick, where are you right now?
Phase 2 coming down on phase 1. I've got the ORU bag.
Okay. I'm just getting my VRT and my wheeler bag and the APFR behind me.
Okay.
And I'll start moving.
I see your safety tether.
Okay.
And Sunny, it looks like we lost your HECA again. If you could see if that powered off.
There we go.
And for both of you, good news. RGA-2 is up and running. We had a successful power-up. Nice work.
Excellent. Great.
Under the MT?
I'm just on the upper side of the lab.
And Sunny, I think I hear you're translating now. We just want to make sure we're pressing the seat-to-cart brakes.
Right. With something else. That. Call, Jeff. Sorry about being moving around too fast.
Hey, I'm on the seat spur.
Wonderful views from the helmet cam of NASA astronaut Nick Hague as they are translating from the S0 truss on the International Space Station about the midway point, the backbone of the International Space Station, and you can see the curvature of the Earth below him. And there is the Quest airlock right in front of him as he moves to go and stow the replaced rate gyro assembly at number 2. As for NASA astronaut Suni Williams, she is making her way to the space-facing side of the Harmony module in preparations for the next task for today's EVA, the replacement of a planar reflector that is used for visiting vehicles in their approach to the International Space Station.
Press 2 times. On the port 1. Sorry, starboard 1.
Copy, Sunny. I think I copied. That was the starboard seat-to-cart brakes.
Get the port 1 up first. On the starboard 1.
I'm at the airlock. My cover's open.
Copy, both of you.
I'm on the strip. Down to the left.
All right, Sunny, I have a couple words for you while you're translating. A few cautions. As you head outboard, you want to avoid contact with the deployed CBM pedals, grapple pin, target, and shaft.
Okay.
And then you also do not want to translate on the WETA stanchion.
Okay.
And then lastly, as you...
Remind me the handrail I'm putting my green hood on?
Yeah, Affirm, I'm about to give that to you. The lab handrail 0272, it's going to be the forward in cone of the lab just above the cable tray.
And there you hear the communication to NASA astronaut Suni Williams as he continues to move along the International Space Station en route to the zenith or space-facing side of the Harmony module, in which he will begin the second task of today's EVA after completion of the rate gyro assembly number 2, and that is to remove and replace a planar reflector. And that planar reflector is used among a variety of communications devices for visiting vehicles to measure distance and rate of closure.
And Sunny, I know you're still translating, I think, but maybe when you get to that Green Hook location, if you could check your HECA. We're still not seeing anything down here.
0272 is locked. Set the button again. Green Hook is down. Black on black locked. 0272.
Copy your Green Hook, Sunny.
I'm on node 2.
Affirm. See you moving on node 2 now, or hear you moving on node 2. We're still working to get your camera view up.
Large ORU bag is on the airlock, large small. That we moved by BRT red. Having the lock bag bundle.
Copy.
Have the crew lock bag on BRT red through the hook. Coming out of the airlock.
Copy, Nick.
Do you have my HECA yet?
Unfortunately not, Sunny. We're still working it down here. If you are making your way over there on the zenith side of PMA, I have some handrail numbers for you if you need them. Otherwise, we're looking for PMA 3 with 5 for the APFR install. And Sunny, we just have one more request for you to just check that camera one more time for us. Sorry about that.
The camera again. I have a green light.
All right, we copy, Sunny. You're seeing a green light.
I'm at the vertical handrail right now. I'm PMA 3. Not on it quite yet. I'm still on the front of node 2.
Copy, Sunny. Thanks for the updates. Nick, once you are ready to start translation, we're looking for glove, HAP, and safer handle checks.
Got it. Lock bag is on my BRT, closing the thermal cover. Thermal cover's closed.
Copy, thermal cover closed. And Nick, can you just confirm that you did leave your PGT in the airlock? I don't think we heard that clear.
Oh, I did not. Let me do that.
Copy, good checks.
Just remind me of the clocking.
Sunny, we're looking for clocking of 10.
And that is on the single line.
Affirm, that'll be single line clocking of 10.
Still checking. Okay. 10, November, on. Let's get the other. Hello.
Now 1 hour and 19 minutes into today's EVA activities and the completion of the first task of 4 assigned to NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Suni Williams, and that was the removal and replacement of the RGA-2, the rate gyro assembly number 2 unit. And you saw the helmet cam of astronaut Nick Hague placing that worn out unit back inside the Quest airlock and the crew lock, as NASA astronaut Suni Williams continues to prepare for what would be the second task for her today, which would be the removal and replacement of the planar reflector, and that'll be just outside the zenith or space-facing port of the Harmony module that's currently occupied by the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that brought Crew 9 to the International Space Station. And that planar reflector, one of many communications tools used for visiting vehicles on approach to the orbiting laboratory to help measure the distance and rate of closure.
And Suni, we do have a big picture view of you from the lab starboard camera, but we're still working on your HECA.
Okay, I am here. I have the lock bag is still on the APFR. APFR is installed. I'm on the front of PMA-3 and below Dragon and everything. My head is way below it, so I am ready for the next words.
Copy, Suni. We're just looking for good words, black on black, pull twist test, and the pitch knob can be depressed for the APFR.
Okay, black on black, good pull wiggle test on the APFR. Pitch knob can be depressed, yes.
Okay, thanks for that. You can unbundle your crew lock bag now from the APFR, and you're going to want to stow that on your BRT. And we just want to make sure your BRT is nice and snug and will be away from Dragon when you ingress with the crew lock bag on it. And Suni, we also have a request for you to power cycle your HECA when able.
Again, I have a green light.
Copy, power cycle complete. And Nick, for you, it looks like we lost your HECA as well, so we'll take the same thing if you can power cycle your HECA when able.
Got it. Tech is off right now.
Great communication between NASA astronaut Suni Williams and astronaut Nick Hague with the ground team here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room as they continue to prepare themselves for the second task of today's EVA. The view you see here is of Suni Williams as she prepares herself for the planar reflector remove and replace. And you heard that communication, making sure that she is properly tethered and safely attached to the International Space Station.
With that, when you're ready, you can begin your translation out to S3, the Bay 1517 interface. We're going to head up to NICER.
Got it. I'm leaving the airlock.
Copy, Nick.
Sonny, I just left my fair lead in. I think that'll help you when you come back to the airlock.
Okay,
I don't know if you put a fair lead in, but so at the base of the cedar spur.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
Real quick one.
And Sunny, while you're working your crew lock bag there, I have a couple more cautions to read to you. You want to minimize contact with the contamination at the planar reflector work site, and then you want to avoid contact with the glass on the planar and hemi reflectors themselves.
Okay.
One.
Right, Jeff, I have the crew lock bag on me. I actually have both of the adjustables on my mini workstation to sort of keep it away from everything floating around as well. So, it should stay away next to my left side. Are we ready for some pictures?
Okay, Sunny, that's a good config with your bag, and we are go for photos.
Okay. Remind me exactly what you want.
Yeah, we want, jokingly, everything there. We're going to look for the visible dragon surfaces, the planar and hemi reflectors, best effort on those because they're kind of under the nose cone, the IDA and PMA hardware, and then anywhere else you see any of that contamination.
Good.
And Nick, we're still not seeing your HECA as well for your assay. We don't have a great camera view. I do have a green hook location. We saw the power cycle. We're troubleshooting on deck, but I do have a green hook location at mile marker 5460.
5460.
Good readback.
This is Mission Control Houston as we continue to bring you live coverage and updates from today's U.S. EVA number 91, currently being operated by NASA astronaut and commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, who you see in your field of view here. Suni is now preparing for the removal and replacement of a planar reflector used in communications for visiting vehicles to help them measure the rate of closure and distance as they approach the International Space Station. You also just heard communication between the ground teams here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room and Nick Hague, who you now see here translating or moving across the truss system of the International Space Station in preparation for his next task, as he and Suni Williams will be working simultaneously on different tasks. For Nick Hague, he will be working to patch the nicer payload and install patches of that nicer payload. And that is an X-ray telescope experiment that studies neutron stars, black holes, and other phenomena. Unfortunately, due to just time and degradation, that has allowed sunlight to interfere with the X-ray measurements during the daylight time as the International Space Station orbits around the Earth. So these patches that Nick Hague will be providing will help reduce that light pollution coming from the sun, and that it can return back to near full strength during daylight hours.
Stay on PMA, you can move around and take photos.
Jess, I've got a green hook down at 5460.
Copy, Nick. Okay. Green hook down on 5460. You're going to stow that crew lock bag number 2 now on S3 handrail 3021. It's going to be the short handrail on the zenith edge of face 1 just above you.
Okay.
All right, Jess, should I try to get in the APFR? You ready for this?
And Sunny, we actually have a couple steps for you ahead of time, but we're also on that lab starboard view, seeing your feet get pretty close to the CBM pedals. So if you can watch that a little bit.
Sorry.
And so we want you to actually configure the PGT rad and just have it on your swing arm, so we don't have to get you back out of the APFR to do that. And then we have you remove the 6-inch wobble socket from your PGT as well and put it on the socket caddy prior to getting into the APFR.
Okay. I have that way at the bottom of my tag because I wasn't anticipating we were going to do that. All of that's at the bottom. I'm going to have to yard sale it all out. Just do you want to do this? Really? Just questioning.
Yeah, Sonny, we're talking it down here. Just stand by 1 second.
I mean, if I need to translate over so that I can get in there, hand it to you, I can. I'm trying to minimize in and out of APFR.
Okay, Sonny, we were talking it over down here, and we think we don't actually need to configure the rad for this. If we end up needing it as a contingency, we'll just configure it later. That said, we're still going to have you remove the 6-inch wobble socket from your PGT and stow it on the socket caddy.
And a great view from the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Nick Hague as he continues to prepare for his second task of today's EVA. And you can see floating off just past that left hand of his, those are the wedge-shaped NICER patches that he'll be inserting into the NICER experiment, the X-ray telescope that helps study neutron stars, black holes, and other phenomena. And he will take those wedges and place them strategically in certain spots on the NICER to help reduce unwanted sunlight from penetrating the X-ray telescope.
No, totally understand. No big deal. And once you get that socket off and in your trash bag, we have a request to have you just turn off your HECA, and we're just going to leave it off for a little bit and then try again later. We still don't have good view.
I just turned off the HECA. Let's see. No lights. My lights.
All right, Nick, we have your HECA back, and I see you unbundling the NICER caddy. When you're ready, that's going to go square scoop to the inner bayonet fitting on your swing arm.
Copy. I'm about halfway through. Not. We did that intentionally.
inch wobble socket is off of the PGT. PGT is swung back in. Socket is going into my trash bag.
Okay, copy, Sunny. Socket in the trash bag. I have a warning I'm going to have to read you, so avoid contact with exposed IDA and Dragon hardware. And then just one last check to make sure mini workstation, tools, tethers, BRT will all maintain clearance prior to getting in the APFR. And then while you check that, saying we're just going to hold here for a second while we talk it over prior to giving you the go. And Sunny, you have a go to repower your HECA now.
Okay, mark. See green light.
Copy, green light.
An hour and 35 minutes into today's EVA as we continue to follow along with the progress of NASA astronaut Nick Hague as he prepares for the NICER experiment and the patches of the X-ray telescope that studies neutron stars, black holes, and other phenomena. And these patches will help shield and prevent unwanted sunlight from interfering with the X-ray measurements. This telescope has 56 X-ray concentrators, and each one of those concentrators has a set of nested mirrors. Well, over time and wear and tear of this experiment has allowed for unwanted sunlight to enter the telescope, thus not providing accurate data during the daylight passes for the International Space Station. So what Hague will be doing is taking the caddy that you heard mentioned just a moment ago that has those patches. He will insert them in select spots around the NICER experiment to allow for its maximum capability both during the night and daytime passes to continue to measure those phenomena.
And active caddies on my swing arm. Flat hook.
All right, copy, Nick. You can continue translation to NICER on ELC2. And I have a warning, avoid contact with the sharp edges on NICER star tracker hood and Fram clevises.
Yeah.
And Nick, while you're translating, I have a couple other cautions to read too, since we have a moment. Once you get up to NICER, remember you want to avoid any contact with the reflective film, so either hand or tools. Avoid loads into NICER in station forward direction just to prevent it from becoming unhooked. And then allow any motion to dampen out prior to each interaction with NICER. And you can also use that closed fist once you get up there, or a flat palm if you do need to react against the face of NICER while you're setting up your work site.
Copy all. Yeah.
And Sunny, we're troubleshooting HECA still down here. It looks like we were getting some good data, but give us a couple more minutes while we troubleshoot and take some photos.
No problem.
And 1 minute to hand over.
Copy.
And Sunny, good news, we got your HECA camera back on the big screen. So after this LOS, we'll be back with you to give you the go.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, Sonny, I'm on LC.
I see you.
And we talked about putting in that fair lead. I don't think it's going to be necessary.
Okay.
You're going to have plenty of translation room if you needed it.
An hour and 40 minutes into today's EVA with NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Suni Williams as they continue to move along with their scheduled tasks for this extravehicular activity, number 91, and the 273rd for International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. They have completed their first task, the priority task for today, and that was the removal and replacement, the R&R, if you will, of the rate gyro assembly number 2. And now the two astronauts are preparing for the second task of the day, in which Suni Williams, she will make her way over to the zenith port of the Harmony module, and near that she'll be removing and replacing a planar reflector. And those planar reflectors, as you can see here and illustrated by NASA Flight Director Nicole McElroy during the briefing last week, and who is on console today leading the EVA, she'll be replacing that black portion along with the 3 bolts to loosen and replace it as it has become contaminated due to visiting vehicle traffic. So they will remove those 3 bolts around that black portion that has a reflective material in the middle there, that silvery middle portion. So she'll reflect that as it is a part of one of many communications tools used by visiting vehicles to remove or to measure their rate of closure and distance as they are on approach to the International Space Station. And for Nick Hague, he is translating his way over to the NICER patch experiment, or the NICER X-ray telescope experiment that has 56 aluminum X-ray concentrators that capture X-ray light that help measure neutron stars, black holes, and other phenomena that has been since worn and contaminated by sunlight and allowing unwanted light to enter the experiment. And he will translate over and install patches for that NICER experiment.
And Sunny, for you, just to repeat, you have a go to ingress the APFR, and you just want to use ingress aid only and just maintain that body clearance to Dragon at all times.
And there you see a great view of the NICER X-ray telescope in front of NASA astronaut Nick Hague, who will install patches, and those circles that have each compartment with wedges on the inside for those patches. There's 56 of those, select ones identified by the NICER experiment, and the team on the ground here, both in Houston and across the country, have identified areas where unwanted light is entering, and that is what Hague will be identifying and patching up so it can return to its full capacity.
Sunny, it looks like your safety tether pack might be kind of trapped underneath the grapple fixture underneath you there. It's just prevent you from going up anymore.
Thank you. Okay. It's recommended I go this way, right? Oh boy.
Well, we see you well clear, Dragon, so you're good to do what you need to.
A great view of astronaut Suni Williams as she continues to prepare for the removal and replacement of the planar reflector just outside of the zenith port of the Harmony module. That is the space-facing port that is currently occupied by a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that brought Crew 9 aboard the International Space Station. That occurred back in late September, but the planar reflector is right there, just a few bits of distance away from that spacecraft, in which Suni Williams will release 3 different bolts and actually replace the actual reflective portion of it all that both the Dragon and other visiting vehicles use on approach and docking to the International Space Station. And you can see the planar reflector jutting out from that docking port. It's just off to the left edge of that screen, that silver brace with the black component right on top of it. That'll be the component that you will be working on. And again, that is to help with a multitude of communications devices for visiting vehicles to use as a reflector to gain insight on the rate of closure and distance as they approach the International Space Station.
Give me a second.
Yep.
Try not to touch anything.
I hear you.
Yeah, Suni, no rush on anything. Again, we're still looking great on time, so feel free to take a break as needed.
As astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague prepare for their second task of the EVA, you can see that the International Space Station has transitioned into an orbital nighttime, currently traversing across Kazakhstan.
A little bit of a constraint problem.
All of this happening as we approach an hour and 48 minutes into today's spacewalk.
And then for the nicer team, I think I've covered the middle third. I'll get into a new position for the bottom third.
Copy, Nick. We're ready to copy that position.
Yeah, and I'm sure if they're not seeing it, I can tell you that there is as much damage in wedge 1 as there is at the F5 in the 3 o'clock position. Almost all of the grids are exposed.
We copy, Nick. F5, 3 o'clock.
Put that right in the middle of your HECA.
All right, Nick, once you're ready to start installing patches, we're going to add an additional patch to that location you called out.
Okay. All right. My right leg in. Get on my left.
I'm going to get in position for patches, Jeff.
Copy, Nick.
Yes, you have my HECA, right?
Yeah, Sunny, your HECA is good.
Great communication between NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Suni Williams on their current tasks. For Williams, you see here, she is removing and replacing and beginning the planar reflector replacement, as she is just outside the zenith port of the Harmony module, which just off on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the Dragon spacecraft of Crew 9. And just before that, you saw NASA astronaut Nick Hague doing a visual inspection of the NICER experiment, the X-ray telescope that has received damage over wear and tear and time, and additional patches, and upon review and visual inspection of the NICER, where additional patches and adjustments and improvements overall could be made.
All right, Sunny, just to confirm for us, just wiggle around the APFR, make sure we're good and locked in place.
I'm locked in place. Yep.
Yeah, nice work. That was a hard work site to ingress. So nice job. With that, we'll position your BRT now and that crew lock bag access while maintaining clearance to Dragon, and then we'll start getting the EVA wipe with the RET out of that crew lock bag. And then, Sunny, another request to rigidize your BRT a little bit once you find that good position, just to make sure we're not floating close to Dragon. And Nick, we see your HECA view and installing patches.
Patch 1 is in. Go number 1.
Copy, 1. Good location.
And again, another great view from the camera on the helmet of NASA astronaut Nick Hague as he begins the patching of certain pie-shaped wedges on the NICER experiment, the X-ray telescope that helps measure neutron stars, black holes, and other phenomena that have been damaged over time, and allowing unwanted sunlight to enter and throw off the X-ray measurements. And you see those pie-shaped wedges throughout the experiment from his view, and those are where he will insert those patches from a caddy that he has attached to his spacesuit. And a good view of the tool he is using and inserting a patch in strategic locations throughout the X-ray telescope.
I got a RET on the reflector. I've got the palm wheel and ratchet out. I've got the wipe for the failed one. You ready to try to undo the bolts?
And Sunny, before that, we'd like you to just we'd like to get some words for visual inspect of the planar reflector. Just any words on the contamination there. And if you can get it in your HECA, we'd like that, but we can't quite see it.
I don't want to lean over too much. but it looks like it has like white powder all over it, particularly on top of it, and as I'm looking at it, right-hand side, the forward side, the left-hand side, the aft side towards station is not as dirty, but the whole reflector top has this white film on it, looks like. I don't know if it's dust or it's film, I'm not touching it.
Okay, we copy that, Sunny. Thanks for those words. We just can't quite see it as good in a heck of view. With that, you can retrieve the ratchet wrench from crew lock bag 1.
Try and take a picture.
Yeah, and some pictures would be great as well. I have a warning and a few cautions to read to you when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I have a warning that any additional torque may cause bolt failure, which could result in sharp edges, the broken shank, and or FOD liberation. So the 4 parts of the bolt that we talked about: spring, washer, retainer, and bolt. And then a few cautions. You want to maintain tool tether clearance to dragon throughout the task. Limit turn count to the specified turns. Minimize side loading on the bolt head, and then again maintain that axial force on the fastener to compress the spring during rotation. And lastly, the release failure torque of the planar reflector bolts is 29 inch-pounds, so stop driving as soon as any rise from running torque is felt.
Are we ready to try one?
Okay, Sunny, we are go for you to start to release the planar reflector bolts. You can do that any order by hand using the palm wheel only, exactly 1 turn on each bolt.
Great communication there between NASA astronaut Suni Williams and the team here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room in Mission Control Center, Houston, Texas, as she gave the explanation and the reasoning for the removal and replacement of the planar reflector, as it is currently contaminated and reduced in reflectivity that allows for visiting vehicles to communicate with the International Space Station and to measure its rate of closure and distance.
Like I got a little bit of a turn on it.
You can see that planar reflector, that section in the middle there that has a whitish color. That is what is contaminated and allows for that reflectivity to happen for the communication to be accurate and properly aligned. So those 3 bolts around the edges are what Williams will be loosening to replace that portion of the planar reflector with a new piece.
It's got a teeny bit of motion on the palm wheel.
Okay, copy, Sunny. You got 10 seconds till this handover, but you can try the 3rd bolt with the palm wheel as well and just see if any of those bolts loosen up.
By which of the palm wheel?
Doing great on time.
See, there's a space between it and the... Front one also got a space. Taking a chill pill.
Good idea. Rush.
Just over 1 minute and 58 seconds into today's U.S. spacewalk number 91, as you see a great view of the communications team on the ground in the International Space Station Flight Control Room.
Handover, and we don't have your heck of views back yet, but can you repeat your last, Sunny?
Yeah, I think I got a turn on the forward one and the aft one. I'm pretty positive. And then the one that's in the center, I got like a half a turn. I feel like it's getting looser.
Copy.